And welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas here with David Derry of Family Life, and telling us all about the Weekend to Remember, which happens each spring. This time it will be March 4th through 6th of 2016, but not too soon to begin thinking about it, right, David?
Yeah, that's right. We have been working on this. It takes almost a year to put this together, so our team and volunteers have been working on this already for months. But this would make a great Christmas gift. Also, at the beginning of the year when people are thinking about turning over a leaf and making a fresh start, would be a great time to register for the upcoming weekend in Akron. It's at the Akron Hilton Fair Lawn up near the Summit Mall is where our event takes place every year.
Sounds wonderful. Well, what if you can't wait that long? Are there local weekends, other weekends that people can attend that you might help with?
Yeah, in addition to the Weekend to Remember, which is a totally family life-led and driven event where our staff completely, does all of that, there are other options of what we call hosted events. These are events that, and they don't have to be events, they can be small groups or different things, but there's a lot of options. And my wife and I actually help coach people, whether that would be a local church or a pastor, or whether it's just a member of a church that wants to do something at church, or even maybe inviting some people from your neighborhood or community over to your house to go through something. We coach and equip people to use resources that are put together by Family Life, but Family Life doesn't actually lead or host them. The individual churches or the individuals themselves actually host those.
So local churches, if they've got a marriage group, marriage and family group, a couples ministry, they could take this to a bed and breakfast or something, or any kind of a getaway, and you would come alongside and help them with resources?
Yeah, exactly. So some churches have a ministry like this already. Many churches don't really have a ministry like this, but there may be one or more people in the church who say, wow, we know some folks who could really use this. We wish our church had a ministry like this. We will come alongside of them and even help them begin a ministry like that. And we, of course, involve the leadership of their church, whether that be their pastor or their elders. We want to make sure that they're in approval of a ministry like this. But we will come alongside of them and help them as much or as little as they need. Some churches do a very good job of this already, and they do have existing ministries. So sometimes it's just as easy as letting them know about some of the resources that we have that they can use. Other times they literally need us to kind of walk them through the process step by step of how they could do something like this for the first time.
And what's the best way for anyone to reach you to be able to take advantage of some of these?
Yeah, the best thing is either they can call me directly or they can email me directly, and I'd be happy to share that information. My cell phone, where they can get in touch with me directly, is area code 234-521-5715.
Can you give that again, please?
It's 234-521-5715. Or they can email me directly. It's just my first initial and last name, D, and then DERRY, at familylife.com. So dderry at familylife.com. And I'll be happy to get back to them and either answer questions or help provide coaching and resources to them.
Oh, that's so great. All right, now I'm taking a look here at all of the opportunities and also all the resources that Family Life makes available. Marriage, of course, being the foundation of family, but to minister to a family, to help a family stay healthy in all areas, there are other things that need to take place. What other things do Family Life offer?
Yeah, so we have a lot of marriage resources, as you said. Art of Marriage is one of the most popular there. We also provide some resources specifically for men. One of the things we've also discovered over the years is that men who are supposed to be really leading their families and loving their wives and children sometimes kind of take a back seat, and they're not really leading while their wife is the one holding the family together and investing into the marriage. So we have resources stepping up for men that we are doing a lot with local churches and folks. We also have a number of parenting resources, not just small groups of how to parent, but things like Passport to Purity, a weekend you can go through, usually around 11 years old. We have resources of how to talk to your kids about sex and sexual purity, how to address dating. So, yeah, a lot of things that are not necessarily directly marriage related, but they are things that strengthen families and resources to help parents.
It certainly does. Let's talk about men a little bit. And the culture in which we live can be brutal to a guy who is trying to just step up and be the provider and protector of his family. Can you address that a little bit and how you come alongside these guys and help men take their place as men in the family?
Yeah, well, a lot of that goes back to, broken families, maybe in the generation before us and stuff like that, where we have more and more people who are growing up who didn't necessarily have a father at home. The teenage pregnancy rate is much higher than it was a couple of decades ago. So you have a lot of men who are growing up today who are pretty confused and who didn't necessarily have a role model of a father at home. Maybe they had several different stepfathers or boyfriends who were living in the home when they were growing up. So they're a little confused what a man really is and what that really means and what they should be doing. So we sometimes refer to them as boys who shave. You get these guys who are 20, 30, sometimes 40 or 50 that really, they aren't really men, even though age-wise our society would say they are. But when you look at the role and they're not really taking responsibility for their actions or when tough choices come, instead of courageously stepping up to do the right thing, which might be harder, oftentimes the guys are sidestepping it or falling back, to do something else. So we have an event as well as a small group that, again, churches or any individual can host, which really helps them to train these guys what it means to be a courageous, godly man in today's society, which is going to help them to be a better husband or a better father, either now or eventually, because some of these guys aren't necessarily married yet. So it's going to help them there, but just being a courageous follower of Christ, a better employee, all those different things. So it's not just for guys who are married or who are fathers, but that's two of the areas where they're really going to be challenged to step up the most.
Mm-hmm. How important is an accountability partner?
Yeah, it's very, very important because, otherwise that's part of the problem is that guys are just sort of doing whatever on their own time or even publicly. And if there's nobody holding them accountable and like the verse that says iron sharpens iron, if there's nobody really helping them to do better and step up and ask hard questions, then it's inevitable that you're going to make wrong choices and you're going to fall down much more often.
Mm. I'm also very intrigued by the title, The Art of Marriage. So, David Derry, what's the art of marriage?
Yeah, so this also is, we have a small group, or actually several different small groups, but there's also a weekend event. So it's similar in many ways to the Weekend to Remember that we've talked about, but instead of going away to a hotel for the weekend, a local church can host the Art of Marriage. And it's a Friday night and Saturday. It's a video-based event, so it's easy to facilitate it. There are many, many different biblical teachers on the videos. There's man-on-the-street interviews. There's humorous video vignettes. So it's a very, very engaging video event that you can do that just, talks about the fact that marriage is a work of art. It's not something that's, just easy and that you breeze through, but it's going to take a lot of work. But if you invest the effort and the time and the skill into it, you're going to end up with a real work of art that you can be proud of as you invest in your marriage.
Oh, I love the way you put that. I find when you teach something, you really learn from it, and you learn most from the things that you're having to teach. Since you are involved with this like 24/7 and are married, you and your wife Laurel work together on this ministry, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we do.
Has there been something that you found in your own marriage that you found was, wow, this was really the gem. This was the thing that I learned new and fresh, or have there been multiple things that you've gotten to use in your own marriage?
Well, honestly, I think it's back to what we were talking about earlier, the whole intimacy versus isolation. That was an aha moment to us a number of years ago, and it came at a time where a lot of our friends were not making it when things got hard and their marriage was really struggling. A lot of them were exiting. As a pastor for 17 years, we watched many pastors and their wives, their families fell apart. They left ministry altogether because their family was failing and their marriages were falling apart. And it was weighing very heavily on us trying to figure out, what was it that we could do different to not end up like so many of those that we knew. And this was kind of the thing that we discovered a number of years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago. And so we began investing much more intently ourselves. Long before we were on staff with Family Life, we just started putting in the effort, having the date nights, reading marriage books, going to conferences, and just being very, very intentional about that. Because even though we're on staff with Family Life, we struggle with the same communication issues that any married couple does. We struggle from time to time with conflict and, oh, why did I say that? I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have reacted. So it's not like because we're on staff with Family Life, our marriage is perfect. I mean, not at all, nor are our kids perfect. You know, there's days where we look at our kids and go, what is it that we're doing wrong here? We feel like we're failing, you know. So we're struggling and fighting right along with every other married couple and family. But we definitely have discovered some of these principles that we can really be deep-rooted and say, you know what, and the marriage vows are for better or for worse. So the truth is all of us signed up for worse. So on days where it's not so good, I mean, that's just part of it. And you continue working through it, and thankfully there's a lot of days that are better.
Yeah,
so.
I guess you're not allowed to say for better and even better. They don't let you get away with that at the
Right,
ceremony.
exactly.
You can try, but it won't work. You are not there just for people who need help. You also give opportunities to people who want to help others. So if someone's listening today and they say, I would love to volunteer with this organization, I would love to invest in other families because we've learned a few things that we'd like to pass along, what would you say to that person?
Yeah, they can definitely get in touch with us because whether they would like to volunteer, we do have volunteers. We need more volunteers here in Northeast Ohio who would work alongside of us in our ministry. But also, even if they just say, we would love to start a small group or we would love to host one of these Art of Marriage conferences that he's talking about or something like that, they can get in touch with us because, like you said, not only are we trying to help people, we also are trying to coach people who want to help others because we realized a long time ago that, you know, Laurel and I, we can affect quite a number of people in Northeast Ohio by the things that we do. But as we're coaching dozens and dozens and eventually hundreds of other people in Northeast Ohio, together we will impact, you know, thousands more than what we could do as one couple. So we definitely are looking for those who say, yeah, we do have a heart to help. We do have a heart to make a difference. And the thing I encourage people with, too, sometimes they think since they've only been married a few years that maybe they can't do something like this. Everybody can help somebody. So I always tell couples, even if you've been married 2 or 3 years, you've learned some very valuable things probably in those 2 or 3 years that you could maybe coach newlywed couples or even couples who are preparing for marriage. There's some things you could really teach them.
Awesome.
So we're always reaching back to help somebody else. We should be reaching forward, trying to find somebody else who can help us at the same time.
So good. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I'm going to give this email address, dderry@familylife.com. You can find out more from David yourself or call him at 234-521-5715. For the Light 95.9 WNPQ, I'm Susie Thomas. This has been Our Community.